Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
Right.
We're
I
gonna
feel
take
like I am running my shift at Great American Burger. And so,
I said that we should probably skip the week because it was like after Memorial Day and probably be like a slow week. Politicians are out, I think. I don't know if they're on break yet, but they're definitely are they off this week? I don't even know.
um,
I
well, they weren't last week because they had hearings scheduled, and a lot of the Republicans ditched the hearings to
Oh
attend
yeah.
Trump's trial.
So I just figured it'd be a slow week, but whew, nope, something big happened today.
Yeah.
Something massive and historical. Uh the former president of the United States, believe it or
Mhm.
not, he was a president for 4 years, Donald J. Trump, is a convicted felon
Yeah.
of 34 felonies. That
34 felonies. Yeah. Guilty on all 34.
this is only one of the trials that he has, right? He still has a bunch of other trials.
Yeah, he has the big one. The other big criminal one was supposed to be the Jack Smith trial that Judge Cannon is running, but she's slow walking
The
that.
Trump appointed ideologue.
Right. Now, if Trump is not elected, that's going to be big trouble for him. But if he is elected, he can make it go away. But the other trial he can't make go away. It's the one in Georgia, and that's the one with Fani Willis, where she
When's
is
that
in.
going? Do you know when that's going to start?
It is not anytime real soon because the current judge on that case allowed Trump to appeal his decision that Fani Willis should be allowed to keep going with the trial. So that's on kind of an indefinite delay. But they both the judge and Willis just had elections like a week or two ago, and they both won. A lot of people said that they were thinking Willis would not get reelected, and she won with like 85% of the vote. So
Yeah, that's a big win.
yeah, it's a big win.
So yeah, he was convicted. This is uh the whole Stormy Daniels thing, and I think there's a
Yeah,
lot more to it than just Stormy Daniels, right? Isn't there? I mean, this.
yeah.
All right,
It's
well,
a
we'll get into that.
yes.
So that's why we're doing it this. We're doing it late. We're doing it
Yep.
Thursday instead. It'll be out tomorrow, Friday. Just gonna try to get his best, get it out at 6 in the morning his
Oh
time.
yeah, yeah.
I figured it'd be funny to talk about. It'll be a little shorter of an episode.
Yeah.
There's not really a ton of like any shows really talk about, and we usually have like a ton of different things. But I mean, definitely we'll be talking about the reactions of the Republicans and right wing personalities and grifters, and that tweeted and after
They
Trump.
did not disappoint.
Some of them are pathetic. A lot of them are delusional. Uh,
Yes.
but we'll get into that. Oh, and then also another thing we're going to talk about is Trump attended the a what did he attend? He
The
attended the
Libertarian
Libertarian
Convention.
Convention, begging, hoping that they would support him and back him and make him their candidate. And it backfired. So this is actually pretty awesome. We're seeing, I mean, not that the libertarian thing's a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal um than the media or anyone's making it out to be, because I think it's like shows how pathetic he is as a
Right.
candidate.
Yes.
And this happens. So I mean, you got to score a hat trick. What's the third thing? Does he slip on a banana peel? Does he fall down a manhole?
Jeez. Yeah.
Does he I don't know.
It's
Who
it's
knows?
it's going to take a lot to top these. Um, but I believe him. He's been on such an epic losing streak. Like it really, ever since he lost the election, um, he has been like snake bit with bad luck. And when
Oh,
I
it's
say
okay.
bad
I mean,
luck,
these were all
it's all his
product of his
own.
design. I mean,
Yeah,
you
but like
know,
this dude cannot catch a break. Like
well, he's doing it to himself.
yeah, Yeah.
he instead of like, gracefully leaving the presidency and working with Biden until he, left, he decided
Right.
to do a violent coup in DC with his moronic followers and supporters and other right-wing lunatics.
Yeah.
And so that was a big one. And then
Yep.
he shut the fuck up. Now he's not getting sentenced until July, and he has not shut the fuck up about this judge,
No,
which I
the
I can't imagine that's going to work in his favor, right?
no. I saw a bunch of people talking on TV tonight, like they bring in lawyers and stuff to talk, and Trump still has not been penalized for his 11 counts of contempt of court, and one of those counts of contempt of court was like putting the jury in danger, which is like a pretty bad thing. And then he gets out of court today after he's found guilty on 34 counts, and immediately he's like, the judge is corrupt and and I can't imagine. I mean, theoretically, he should just get probation. Like, if this were a normal dude who went in there and said, like, but that he probably would get probation. But he's done so many things wrong to make the situation worse. And I've heard this too. I read it all day on Twitter, and I looked it up, and it's the case. When Michael Cohen did basically the same thing, Trump demanded prison, and Trump's own DOJ put Michael Cohen in prison for 3 years. Three
Michael Cohen
years.
was only in jail for like 1 year, though, right?
Yeah, but he was sentenced for 3 years. I don't know. He may have done a full 3 years.
Or maybe he did. I don't know. I thought he was out after a year.
Well,
Maybe.
he was sentenced to 3. I know that for a fact.
Hmm.
And I know federal statutes, usually they don't give a ton of time for good behavior. It's like you got to serve like 85% of your sentence. But Cohen was in jail for 3 years, and Cohen A, pled guilty, which is supposed to get you leniency, and B, cooperated with the prosecutors, which gets you leniency, and he still did 3 years. So I think Trump should get, and I'm just saying here conservatively, like 87 years in prison. That's just what.
From all the felonies.
Yeah, they said that the upper range of what he could get would be 20 years. That the sentencing guidelines say between 4 and 20 years.
I'd say give him 5.
Yeah,
Yeah, 5 should do it.
yeah.
I mean, like, that should just do it.
That should do it. Yeah, that should
That
take
should
him.
just do it. 5 years. All right. Before we get into all that, we'll go into more details about the trial
Yes.
and like what this was all about, and then we'll get into about the libertarian thing because that's just really funny.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about like the box office this week, which because in this podcast we talk about
Yeah.
politics, we talk about movies and TV and media in general, like anything like around that world.
Mhm.
And we talk about it, and it's not like, oh, how can you talk about this stuff and then talk about politics? Well, politics leaks into all the stuff we
Yeah.
talk about.
There's a lot of overlap.
Not even just that, like there's like a cultural politics of everything now. Like everything's like a fucking cultural war. So like, of course, it makes sense to talk about something like even something like Star Wars, which is just it's like ridiculous, and you can't have a conversation about it
Yeah.
without it being about something stupid. But before I get into everything, do me a favor. There's a link in all our the captions of all our
Yep.
podcasts to buy us a cup of coffee. If you like what you hear, we would appreciate it. If you appreciate what we do, we would appreciate if you hit that link
Mhm.
and open up your pockets if you want. Buy us a cup of coffee. We'd really appreciate it. It'll give us the energy we need
Yes.
to give you the best content possible.
Yes. We can't live on Baja Blast alone. We
Yeah,
need
and the Baja
coffee.
Blast we get is just driving up to uh the drive-through Taco Bell, and the employee sprays us in the face with a mouthful of Baja Blast.
Yes. And I also have a homebrew Baja Blast I make out of Blue Powerade and NyQuil. But that's like it's not
Windex gives it an extra kick.
Yes. So all right. So yes, hit the coffee link. That would be appreciated.
Yeah, we would appreciate that. So Furiosa came out this weekend.
Yes.
and this was Memorial Day weekend. This is historically usually a big opening weekend. I feel like that's kind of changed though. I remember in the past, I felt like summer season just got like early and earlier. It was always like it wasn't even until like June that summer season started when I was a kid. And it would turn into like literally like the first week of May would be the summer season. Like Iron Man 1 in 2008 came out like the first week of May, and it was a massive hit. And we're just not getting those anymore. Like Planet of the Apes did pretty good. I don't know if it
Yeah,
was like a huge hit. I think it's gonna make a profit in the end and make enough money that there'll probably be another one. But Furiosa came out and it looked good. I had interest in seeing it. We didn't go, unfortunately, but and I heard good things about it. People raved about it, but man, it bombed.
yeah,
It made like barely $30 million. Now, if this was a low budget horror movie, 30 million would be a massive hit.
big deal. Yeah,
But this movie cost like 150 freaking million to make. And it's it's a loss. It's a huge loss. And
yeah,
people are like probably not gonna see another Mad Max movie ever again. That's probably true. We never will. That's I mean the funny thing I think people don't realize though is that and I saw someone bring up a good point that as great as Fury Road was, it didn't even
mhm,
crack the top 20 box office hits of 2015 when it came out.
yeah,
I saw that in the theater and I enjoyed it. And I watched it this past weekend on Max. And I have a
yes,
theory about so I all the reviews I read or saw, heard, read, I don't know, read, I saw
yeah,
something
yeah.
on TikTok said that, and this was pretty consistent across the board. They all loved Furiosa, but it was not as good as Fury Road.
Yes, that's what I've heard
Now
too.
it's not the marketing. I think the problem is the marketing makes it look like um, a clone of Fury Road,
It does. Yeah,
and it's not. From what I heard, it's not at all. Like it takes place over like a 15-year period. It's divided in like chapters. It's like I haven't seen it yet. I still want to see it. But my theory is like I was able to just watch Fury Road for free. Well, yeah, technically for free, even though you pay for it or
yeah,
get
yeah.
something else with Max. It was available on Max. It's in like high definition. I'm watching on my 55-inch high def TD,
Hmm.
Sony Bravia, whatever the fuck it is, TV. And it looks great. I mean, it's not a movie theater, but you know what I
Right.
mean? I could just watch that. And that is, in the end of the day, the better movie. And it's a Mad Max movie. I don't know. Like, if I think WB should have like made sure, or Max, or whatever the hell Discovery or whoever owns like
Hmm.
this content and runs that should have made it that you could not see Fury Road for like 6 months.
Yeah, I
That
think that probably
people
would have helped.
pumped. And because and I noticed back in the day when I was like younger and stuff like that, I would notice like anytime a sequel was coming out in a franchise or like a number the second movie or third movie, the first movie would never be available to be seen on cable or streaming. It would be impossible to rent, it'd be impossible to find. It would just like disappear for a while. And they would do that so that you're starved for the new content. And the new
Right.
content might not be as good as the first one. And if you can just go watch the first one,
Why
you kind
not? Yeah.
feel already that need. Like you're like, I mean, in theory, yeah, watching the first one might get you pumped to watch the second or third one, but I feel like from a mainstream movie, I don't think that's the case. And that, go ahead, what?
No, I was going to say I think that is probably true. I hadn't thought of that. You had mentioned that before we started recording, and as it kind of settled in my head, I was like, there is something to that.
Yeah, I just think like it things are super accessible, like the need to go and buy, go to the theater, and and again, people bring it up. Movies are really expensive to see. It's
They
like
are.
it could cost like $100 for a family of five to go to a movie.
Well, my daughter and I have seen movies lately, which kind of become a thing we've tried to do. And even if we plan it so we see like the bargain show, like the 4
Matinee,
p.m.
which
show,
isn't even that big
right?
of a bargain anymore. I think it's like
It's
$2.
not. But if we see a kind of a bargain show and we just get like popcorn and a couple slushies or whatever, you're still looking at like 40, 50 bucks. Uh, and I'll tell you, that's another thing I think went wrong with Furiosa. Lately, I've come to see movies kind of within the framework of would I fuck the popcorn bucket? And
Right.
this
Yeah. And then Furiosa did not have a
no,
popcorn bucket.
exactly. And
That's a big.
that's sadly become a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw the Wolverine,
Yep,
Deadpool. They just launched a trailer for the Wolverine popcorn bucket, and
yep.
it has a big, huge, gaping mouth hole for Wolverine. And I'm assuming Deadpool will have something similar.
Yes.
And the one thing I saw when I saw it, I was like, I could go to town on that.
Well, I will on a more serious note, I'll say, and I'm not gonna I am gonna spoil a little bit of the film here, even though I haven't seen it. My original theory on Furiosa, why it didn't do so well, is that it was a
It
Mad
has a girl
Max.
in it.
Well, it was a Mad Max movie without Mad Max.
Well, the joke
And
was that a lot of people said was Fury Road was that like Furiosa was almost like the main character of that movie.
yeah, but Mad Max was still a central figure.
Yeah,
He was not the I would agree, maybe Furiosa was more so the lead,
like almost a
but
co-lead in a way.
yeah, but you
Yeah,
got a lot of Mad Max. And
yeah.
this one, I didn't see any Mad Max in any of that. Now, I did go on IMDb and later on Wikipedia, and apparently there is a Max character in it. A very brief appearance by this guy named Jacob Tamuri, who was the stunt double for Tom Hardy in the
So
previous
he
in
doesn't have. I'm assuming he probably has no lines, and it's probably like where the first one begin, like this. Well, Fury Road begins is where Furiosa ends, maybe.
I from what I understand, he has a few lines. Yeah, I'm reading from
What's Max
Wikipedia.
time?
He helps Furiosa and
Really?
oh,
I don't want to know
let's
this.
see.
I want to
Yeah.
see it. That sounds doesn't even make any sense. He helps her? No, I don't want to hear this.
Anyway, but the other twist to it
Then she
is
gets hit
that
in the head and forgets that she met Max before.
you mentioned that there's a theory that there's a lot of Mad Maxes, that there is no one Mad Max.
Well, that's
He's
what I
kind of
heard.
a
There's all kinds of theories. One of them is that the Tom Hardy Max is not the Mel Gibson Max, and not because Tom Hardy plays it, in that it's not the Mad Max from I don't know what's the second movie one called Road
Road Warrior,
Warrior, and the third one's Third Thunderdome,
Thunderdome.
and that's the overall theory is that they're
Well,
not the same character. That he might be the feral child from
I think that makes a lot of sense. I like because there's a now again I haven't seen Furiosa, but people were talking about how there's like an unreliable narrator to this, and there's like some ambiguity with some of it, and it makes perfect sense that this mythological figure of a lone warrior, a lone wanderer or something. I like that. I think that's actually pretty clever.
There's all these like chuds who are like posting pictures of like an older Mel Gibson as like Mad Max, and they're like, this would be the biggest hit ever. And I'm like, okay, come tits. Like, first of all, like there definitely I think would be more interest. Like Mel Gibson is not gonna be a box office draw at this day and age. But yes, if you
No.
attached him to a new Mad Max movie, you would definitely get Mad Max fans to show up. Would it be a massive hit? Probably do a little
Mm,
better than what Furiosa did, but it's not going to be a fucking like. I'll give you examples. Look at Blade Runner 2049 or whatever. That was
yeah,
not a big hit at all. And that
that
movie,
was a great movie
it
though.
was a good movie, but it was not a hit at all. And they got Harrison Ford to come back for that. I mean, there's definitely a cult following, but is there a cult following enough to make it a 500, 600,
No,
eight
look at
hundred
look at any of
million
those movies.
dollar success story? No.
Look at Schwarzenegger's later output, which is I like some of his stuff, but he's not a draw anymore. And neither was Harrison Ford in the Blade Runner or in Indiana
Tired of
Jones.
seeing like old men coming back to these characters. It's like
Yeah.
we've seen it a lot of times, and it's not really it. The results end up not being the greatest.
Yeah.
Look at the last Indiana Jones movie. That was a bomb. The trying to think of other like I mean. In the end of the day, people hated how Luke was and this new Star
Yeah.
Wars movies. I mean, Han was Han, he was fine, but Harrison Ford, everyone's like, why'd they kill him off? If you want to know why they killed off Han Solo in that
Ask
movie,
Harrison Ford.
go ask Harrison Ford because he didn't want to be in the fucking movie. he
Yeah,
wanted he
but
didn't want
then
to commit to a trilogy.
they
Uh,
just back a dump truck full of money up to his house. He's like,
I always thought it was weird though. He shows up as like a ghost or like he's not a force ghost, but he shows up as
yeah,
like a fuck. I don't know what the hell you'd call it.
like a projection of some sort or
Well,
something like that.
yeah, like yeah. After Kylo Ren kind of changes and becomes Ben again, he sees his father, but like he's not a
Yeah,
force ghost. It's like he's a, and I like that. He's not a force ghost because he's not glowy.
right. Yeah,
He's like, I'm
yeah.
just in your head, kid. You're just a fucking nut job. You're talking to the wind, buddy.
Haunt you till you die.
What?
I'll haunt you till you die.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I think like the problem too is like, someone brought a good example and said like Netflix claimed that Atlas. Atlas is this movie. There's Jennifer Lopez in it. The guy who played Shang-Chi, and there's a couple other people in it. It's this movie on Netflix. It's I saw like half of it. It's pretty bad. It's just like a crappy, like big budget looking movie.
Yeah.
And Netflix claims it was like number one this week. And the joke is a lot of people say that like anytime Netflix puts out like a big movie or whatever, that's under them. It's always like in the number one movie. And they're like, is Netflix lying? Or are people
Well,
really watching these movies?
the fine print might have been like in Indiana. Like there
Well,
may
I
be.
mean, you know what I'm saying though? Like Netflix is like this is like Netflix's
Yeah.
production. They're the ones putting the money behind it, and these movies always end up being number one on Netflix. I mean, I'm sure like it could be.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I would say this. I mean, okay, me and you talk on this thing, and this is something we like. But
Yeah.
like your passive movie consumer, passive movie goer sees like a big budget film starring Jennifer Lopez, that is an actress, a mainstream
Yep.
actress,
Yeah.
and starring some other people too. Uh, that they notice that they would pay money to go see in the theater, and they could just watch it on Netflix with their family, or they can go pay like $100 and go see
Right.
another movie that came out that weekend starring a female protagonist and some
Well,
weird
and they'll tell
sci-fi.
themselves we'll catch Furiosa when it comes out on Netflix or Max or
It'll
whatever,
be on Max
and
in like
yeah,
in like
8 weeks.
2 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
like Dune 2, I just watched like last week. I mean, 3 months?
Yeah.
Not
I saw
even.
something
It
is
was like a
out
three
on
month
like
wait.
yeah, I saw the first Omen is out on like Hulu now. That
Oh,
was in the
really?
theaters like a month or two
I
ago.
mean, that one probably cost like $10 to make, though.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, the point is, like, a lot of these, that was like,
The
yeah,
window's very short on these movies. I would
yeah,
say is the only one Disney like shortened the window on or made the window longer was like Avatar 2 when it came to
yeah,
Plus. Avatar took a while to come to Disney Plus.
yeah,
Most Disney Plus movies, it's like barely 2 months now. Like, but I wonder if that's something to do with James Cameron. He might have in his contract. You
could be,
cannot release this movie for like 6 months or 8 months.
right.
So I guarantee you that that's part of his deal, and probably got grandfathered in. They're like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're not releasing Avatar 2 on Disney Plus in like 4 weeks. No fucking way.
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
anyone to think that that's a. I mean, like, for me, I'm like, yeah, it's great. I mean, I can see the movie at home if I want. Like, okay, like
Yeah,
I don't know. It's an interesting thing, like movies are very expensive to see. People have less money to go out and spend like exorbitant amount of money on pointless things. Like, people will say like, "Oh, the movies were better back then. Now the movies suck. Now they're all woke." That's bullshit. No,
yeah,
people would go and see the shittiest movies all the fucking time. But when it becomes like double the amount when you were spending $40 to take your family to the movie, and now you're spending 80 to 100, you're not gonna go. The movie has to be special. Like
yeah.
people are like, oh, everyone's just gonna go see Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, they're going to because that's an event movie. It
That
feels like an event.
people have been talking about that for a long time. A lot of
Yeah,
these movies that like Furiosa, people have talked about, but it just hasn't built the buzz. I don't know. I tend to agree. I think that it costs a lot of money. people are kind of short with money elsewhere. There's streaming services available. There's just a lot of variables, none of which are pointing to good news for the
And let
box
me tell you,
office.
anyone who went to go see like fucking like Madam Web or some piece of shit earlier this year, they're
Right.
probably like, fuck it. I'm not going to the movies for like a year. I don't
Yeah.
care what comes out. Like this piece of shit makes me not want to go see the movies.
It sucks. It sucks like spending all that time and money to go see something awful when you
Did
know
you
there's like good stuff streaming at home.
did you see though, speaking of Madam Web, did you see like the head of Sony said some bullshit? Let me find it. It's like this was earlier than the whole Trump thing later in the day, but like hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
All this Trump shit now in the way. Oh, Sony CEO Tony Vinciquerra says they'll be looking at ways to use AI to produce their films more efficiently and to
Oh
cut costs.
Lord.
And I said, simple movie is made using AI that was used to remove jobs. Don't support these projects. Don't give your hard-earned dollars to corporations that will find a way to remove jobs. Fuck that. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
that's
I am
ridiculous.
definitely not going to pay to see your fucking movie. Like you're not going to now because they're not going to all of a sudden lower the price of the movie. That's bullshit. Never believe
No.
that. They're not going to lower the price of the movie. They're not going to lower the price of the theater experience or any of that.
No.
Expect to pay more, and you're going to see like you're going to find. I mean, again, these people, these stories get out. What do they think there's going to be a backlash?
Yeah, there
I
should
don't want to
be.
see some fucking AI generated crap. I want to see like.
No, at some point you can just make the movie yourself.
Did
Like
you
what?
see there's a streaming service that's being pitched
Oh Lord,
where
no.
people can do that? They can make their own content with
Ugh,
AI.
that's awful.
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen you and I talked about this before where
Like
people will
Mario
make
Maker. Remember that? There was a game where people could make their own levels on
oh
Mario.
yeah, Mario Paper, yeah.
Not Mario Paper.
What was it?
It was a literally like a game. It was like Mario Maker or something where you can build your own Mario levels and like people would make all kinds of insane
Huh.
levels. And that's what these movies will do. They'll just be
Mm,
like a hodgepodge of shit.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not terribly interested in that. That'll be well, we'll see. We'll see geez, what comes of the AI thing? I think it's going to continue unabated, um, but it's generally terrible. I remember you and I were talking about those things where they take like a Star Wars and do it like it was in the 1950s,
Yeah,
or you know,
they're
and
fun, but
they're fun, but then like
they're
you see
limited
like
in the end. They just make fun little pictures.
they're super limited. You see like 7 or 8 of them, and then you're like, all right, I'm done. They're like novelty songs, you know. I mean, they're just
Yeah.
like I don't know. And then I watched a series of one guy who did like little horror shorts, like horror movie shorts using AI. First one was really good. And I'm like, oh, this is, and then the second one, I'm like, okay, I like it. Like 3 or 4 into it, you're like, these are all going to be identical, aren't they? They're all going to be like the same
Yeah.
variation on the same idea. And then like they get dumber and dumber. And I don't know, that is AI. It's just so redundant, you know, it just like keeps lowering its bar. Yeah.
It all looks the same to me too. That's the thing is like I could spot an artist who did something with their style, but with
Yeah.
AI, it all kind of looks like it's coming out of the same place.
It all, well, because it all is, you
Yeah,
know.
it all
So
has the same style. It's ripping off the same styles. It's not coming up with its own look at
no,
all. There's like
no.
that weird AI face that's still, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep,
Like
yeah.
pronounced cheeks, like sunken eyes. It's real
And it's
cool.
all rubbery and the yeah, it's very unsettling.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
You know, I
speaking
just
of
well, like I said, I mean the Furious thing, like of course some dipshits will say because it was a female-led movie. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. Some of the biggest budget movies have female leads in it. Like,
yeah,
I mean, biggest box office hits and celebrated movies have female protagonists. I'm so tired of that bullshit. But again, it's like, yeah, maybe it's a niche series and you have a secondary character from a niche movie
yeah,
that is beloved and beloved by film nerds and and loudmouths on the internet, which again, it does not represent the majority of the audience. Like Disney's making another Tron movie.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
second one didn't even do good.
No.
The first one was a bomb. The second one, I remember I knew all these people, they were so excited. They're like, oh yeah, I hope they make a Tron sequel. I'm like, why? Why would you make the money? And then I saw the sequel and I was like, I saw like stuff coming from the sequel. I'm like, all right, yeah, it looks
Yeah,
kind of
it's
cool.
fine.
Looks kind of cool. And they put all this promotion, Daft Punk and all this shit was behind
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Didn't do that great.
No, it did fine. I mean,
No,
if I
it
remember
didn't.
right,
It did not do good. It was,
it didn't make its money back.
I don't, if it did, it probably because of international.
Probably.
Let's say
Uh,
Tron 2 box office. And now, I mean, they have a third one that's coming out next year. It made 400 million worldwide theatrical run. It was 170 million production budget. That's not including marketing.
right,
That's just
right.
the budget. So I bet it broke even in the end.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But they're making a third one. And again, it's like I call
Mm.
these like when the studios listen too much to like the Comic-Con crowd. A good example
Yeah.
is Scott Pilgrim saves the.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I saw it on like DVD or something. But that was a bomb. That did not do well.
It didn't do well. I don't. Was it supposed to do well?
Yes, it was supposed to
Mm,
be. It was a big budget. Michael Cera, all the new young
yeah.
people in it, like Edgar Wright, a praised director and everything, and it was a it didn't do well.
Yeah. It's more of a culty movie now.
Yeah, but this is what happened. Like, okay, if you looked at like the Comic-Con crowd, they probably thought it was the most amazing movie ever, and you
Yeah.
thought like, oh yeah, this is gonna make $1 billion. No,
No.
not at all. Um, I don't know. We'll see. I think the reality is that there's a lot of insecure financial insecurity. I think
Mhm.
so. There's just if you give enough content to people at home where they could just watch it and stream it for free or stream, whatever they're paying to stream it, are they going to run out to see everything in a theater?
Why would they? You know?
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, we'll move on to after this, but like going back to like the whole Deadpool Wolverine release, this is the only official Marvel movie coming out this year.
Right.
And, you know, they said they're going to go back to doing like 3 a year or whatever. But like, again, like, I mean, as much as I want to see as many as possible come out because I'm a big comic dork and I want to see all these
Yeah. Yeah.
movies come out. But why, as a consumer of the film consumer, why do they have to commit to that?
Yeah.
You know what I
I.
mean? Like, and again, I think this is where Phase 4 failed horribly. Not to say that Phase 4 was a horrible failure. Phase 4 failed horribly because it was so scattered.
It was very scattered. That's
Like,
the.
you had by Phase 2 of Marvel, you knew Thanos was coming.
Yeah. And it was a bit. Yes. It was a
By the end of the first
clear
Avengers
picture.
movie, they showed Thanos, and he showed up in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one,
Yep.
and knew he was an impending threat, and that they had it all mapped out, and they said Infinity War was coming out in like 2018. So you had all this excitement leading up to that, and then Phase 4, you got like all these fucking shows to watch on Disney Plus. Like, I don't mind, I like this stuff. I'm talking about your everyday.
But it was a lot. It was a lot to
See.
juggle.
Yeah, and then on top of it, okay, let's say you go watch the shows and then you go see the movie and you're like, they didn't even fucking follow the show. Why the fuck did I waste my time watching that show? Like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but like I didn't need to see that show to watch the movie because the movie just diverted into its own fucking thing. A good
Yeah.
example is Multiverse Madness, totally ignoring the ending of WandaVision, and Marvel's just kind of doing whatever the fuck it wanted
Yeah.
with so I don't know. I think actually I wouldn't mind if Marvel just put out like 2 good movies a year. Again, I don't know how Deadpool's going to be. I'm sure it'll be fine, but maybe they should just do 2 a year or
Yeah.
something. Maybe people like, when you start, and I noticed this with comics too. Like Marvel back at like they had X-Men, and it was a huge hit, and they would sell like hundreds of thousands of copies a month, if not a million a month.
Mhm.
But then they get greedy and they're like, why don't we do a New Mutants book?
Yeah.
Why don't we do a X-Force book? Why don't we do another X-Men book? We'll just call it X-Men. The other one's Uncanny. This one's X-Men. Why don't we do Excalibur? Why don't we do? And then all of a sudden there's like 12 X-Men books, and then you're just bleeding.
Right.
You're making it's like a photocopy of a photocopy. Those secondary titles, those third titles, whatever, they're not as good as Uncanny. They're not as good as X-Men. They're not going to get
You burn through a lot of goodwill
you're
too
not
that
going to
way.
get the best content creator, the best writers and artists on those books. It's going to be your like rookie artists, rookie
Yeah.
writers, and some of them will be good, some of them just suck. And the consumer is just going to be like, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even like, oh, I'm just going to cancel these books and just go back to reading X-Men. They're going to say, I'm just done
Yeah. I'm done with
with
this for
everything.
now.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure studio heads are probably freaking the fuck out, coming up with every excuse they could think of why Furiosa didn't do well. I think in the end of the day, the reality is shit's too fucking expensive. That's the
Yeah.
end of the
That's probably the crux of it. Because honestly, if these movies were relatively cheap to go see, if a day at the movies was cheap, people would go to see them even if they didn't love the movies.
yeah.
Just be something to do with your kids. So
But again, when you were younger and you would go to, let's say your mom or dad dropped you off at the theater.
yeah,
My parents would always drop me and my brother or maybe my sister off at the mall by our house, and there'd be a theater there, and it would cost us like $3 each to go
yep,
to. Obviously, this is like the mid '80s, so
sure,
40 years ago. I'm not gonna like to say that that's a normal, but we also didn't have like streaming services. Like we had VCRs by like
yeah,
at that point, and we had like cable, but like there was only so much content to consume, and we
yeah.
saw all kinds of shitty movies in the theater.
I saw a lot of bad movies in the theater.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big deal.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't,
No,
you didn't sit there and go, oh, I wasted like 30, $50 on this piece of shit. It's like you spent like $4 and you're like,
yeah,
even
yeah,
back then, $4 was nothing really.
not yeah. I mean, it was definitely something you could drop in a movie. So,
Yeah. And I think that's
oh,
the problem is that it's kind of funny too. Before we move on to the Trump thing, it's like I'm seeing like like fast food places are starting to freak
yeah,
out because they realize a
hmm
lot of people are getting turned off. They're like, I don't want to pay $20 to go eat at McDonald's. And it's actually kind of funny. McDonald's, I guess, supposedly started putting out $5 meals
okay,
to get people back in. And it's just like a double cheeseburger or some fries. But all the franchisees are like, we don't want to have to pay for this.
right,
We're losing money.
right, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Speaking of losing money and maybe freedom.
right, yeah, yeah. Trump's had a rough week. He started the week. I guess we should start with the first thing that happened that was real funny is he went to the Libertarian National Convention and he got it set up so that he was actually going to be able to speak at the convention, which was pretty unusual because he is the nominee of another party. And I guess that alone pissed off a bunch of people at the convention. And when Trump finally got on to speak, they booed him
Yeah.
mercilessly. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like a legit heckling.
Well, there was a guy
Um,
who came out first to talk, and people were booing that guy,
yep,
and he was trying to like scold them. And they're like, I mean, at the end of the day, the Republicans have been trying to LARP as libertarians, trying to pass off because they want to like one, they don't want it. They know
right.
Republican on a full on mainstream level is toxic as fuck. So if you claim you're a libertarian, it sounds kind of cool,
Yeah. Well,
but they're not
geez.
libertarians at all.
Yeah.
Libertarian
Um,
would never take away would be against the government putting in any restrictions on abortion and
yeah,
women's.
you would think.
I mean, they also would be against like finding putting in regulations that stop companies from like putting lead in milk,
Yeah.
lead in milk, kids' milk.
Or or dating an 8-year-old. I mean, they're
Right.
pretty
And the
old.
problem is the Republican, yeah, exactly. But the problem is with the Republicans are they meet the libertarians in one thing. Yeah, we'll deregulate everything because
Yeah.
we are the party of the bosses and the owners class. But we also want to like restrict everyone's like life And that's what
It's
libertarians like are supposed. That's why the libertarians are supposed to diverge from the Republicans in that.
yeah,
Yeah, we want to get rid of like all laws. We only want like we want to basically live in a tire town. But in that tire town, if you want to go get an abortion, if you want to go be
right.
gay, if you want to go do this, we're not going to stand in your
In
way.
theory, that's yes, that is the case. And I think there's still like a lot of old school libertarians that believe that, but a lot of the more modern libertarians are just like, Republicans that want to smoke pot.
That's always been the classic term. I would hear that from people is that
Yeah, I think that was a Bill Maher bit, I think,
yeah,
a
like
while back.
Republicans, libertarians are just Republicans that want to smoke weed, and that's basically what Bill Maher is now, anyway.
Yeah, right.
Uh, yeah, I think the fact that Trump is one of the most like the is a theocratic authoritarian fascist, and I think that's whoever told him that he should go to libertarians to try to get to be their candidate.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It really doesn't make any sense. Like, from an internet meme thing, maybe it kind of does. I don't know. He's like a meme.
Well,
So, like,
I think I didn't watch his whole speech. I just watched the clips where he got booed a lot. But if it sounds like someone was saying his basic pitch was, look, we don't agree on much, but we could at least agree that I'm better than Biden. Vote for me.
yeah.
That was a
Well, he said,
variation.
like, oh, do you want to keep losing? Like, you want to keep getting your 3%, your
Right,
2%, 3%. And he's like, yeah, he's basically saying, like, I need your 2 to 3%.
right. And which is a weird way to ask for it.
Yeah,
Uh,
imagine Biden showing up at the Green Party, like, whatever their
yeah.
convention will be, at the I don't even know
It
where the
Yeah, I don't know what they would call it, but it doesn't make any sense because
But
like
imagine Biden going there and being like, "Yeah, I need your vote." Blah blah blah. They would fucking boo the shit out of him
they
too.
they should honestly. I mean, like,
And Biden wouldn't. Shouldn't he? I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, but like the Republican candidate for president going assumptive. What is he? The presumptive candidate?
presumptive, yes,
It's really not to after the convention that they are the official candidate. It's always like a
right,
stupid thing now, but it's not what it used to be. Like back in the day, the candidate would not be decided until the convention.
right, yeah. You might even have like a brokered convention where there's
Yeah.
like some debate up at the convention. Um, I've heard some people say that the Republican Party might try to move away from Trump and see if there's some procedural thing where they could replace him on the ballot.
Where
I
did you
don't.
hear that?
I on mostly
Because of
on
today?
Yeah, where people were saying like the Republicans might kind of wait a day or two and see how the public reacts to this, and then decide if they have to replace Trump, because they could do it in what's the first place that votes for the Republicans? Um,
No, Ohio, Iowa?
could be.
Are you talking
Well,
about like the primary?
uh, the primaries are mostly done.
Yeah, yeah. No, what are you talking about then?
It would be at the convention. Like
Yeah.
it's not a specific place, like a geographical place, but they start voting. The delegates start voting. And there may be an opportunity for them to like replace Trump with someone like Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis is so unlikable.
Yeah. That would be a terrible idea for them. But just to illustrate the point, they could do something like that. Um I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. I mean, I think they're gonna ride with Trump until
I think they'll just ride, lose. I hope they lose, and there's
yeah.
something really wrong with the American people. Sorry, if you're voting for Trump still, or you were considering voting for Trump, you have something you're mentally ill. There's something like you
Yeah.
need to go get your brain checked out. Like there is uh, something is not capturing something. You're not getting enough oxygen in your blood. There is something, there's a massive cognitive disconnect. Like,
Yeah.
did you
Just to
see that
make
RFK also showed up to the libertarians?
No, that makes more sense.
And they were, I guess the RFK people were like squeezing rubber chickens or something at Trump.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Want to
And
debate
then
him.
someone said that the Secret Service started confiscating rubber chickens. And someone made the point, like, is this the Secret Service's job to like protect his feelings?
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. He's not the fucking president. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous that he has. Uh, oh, look, I just saw this from
Mm.
3 hours ago. Attorney General Ken Paxton. This verdict is an outright assault not only on
Oh
President
Lord.
Trump, but on every American who believes in justice and rule of law. This is a battle of good versus evil. Let me be clear: the political elite may think you can't
God.
even fucking read this bullshit. This guy's supposed to be in prison himself.
Yeah. Well, he's not.
This guy wrote, "This is a vindication of rule of law. Your turn is coming, you fucking criminal." From the
Well,
Sean Kelly said that. And then some,
af-
aren't you that corrupt, AG? You have no leg to stand on.
after Trump got booed out of the Libertarian Convention, things quieted down for a day or two, and then he went to uh he went to the Libertarian Convention,
You
and
see,
then
he went to before the Libertarian Convention, though, he went to the Bronx for this
oh yeah,
this
fake
fake
cookout
ass
thing.
rally that was filled with people that were not from the Bronx. They're filled from people like from Long Island, Staten Island. Anyone that was a person of color was from the South. There was those
Yeah.
weird rappers that like hang out with him, and Fergaccio Hogblow
Oh God,
for Hoggio Blow was
he's so
there.
gross.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy looks like a fucking like I can't. I said there's a picture of him like he looks like a pig. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. He just has a little piggy nose. Got a piggy nose.
Yeah, he does. That is true.
Do you remember saying SNL? There was like an old commercial for like piggies on your sneakers, and
Yeah.
like jump, it would go.
Right. Right.
A
Oh
little
God.
bit. They were making fun of like the pump sneaker,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Nike pump. Those piggies. Forgot looks like
He
a hawk.
does.
He
Yeah.
does. But yeah, he gave some bullshit speech. There was all this like disgusting AI I saw of like these black people with like grills on and Trump with grills. And I'm like, first of all,
It's real screwy. Yeah.
fuck. What?
It's real screwy.
Yeah, it was super racist looking. And it's like, it's not even real. Like, you have to make fake AI of Trump at like a cookout.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like he just swung by Atlanta for the day or something.
yeah, and it's all fake. It's not real. And I'm like, there's a
Yeah.
like this delusion they have that he's going to steal like the minority vote from Biden.
Right.
I mean, he might. I have no idea, but
Mm.
like, it seems really disingenuous on their part,
Yeah, it does. It
especially the
does.
fact that they use AI for it.
God.
Um. So yeah, the libertarian thing is really funny.
It is. I mean, it's objectively funny.
It's objectively funny, but and he said his speech was like, he's like, I got rid of what was the we talked about it. What law did he get rid of? It was like a college.
It was the ones where like a college could do the investigation as to whether or not a sexual offense had occurred. And Trump didn't want that. He wanted it to be handled by like off-campus police forces or something. Yeah, it was just a
So the
screwy.
evidence can be easily buried.
It was just like
Brock Turner.
I know that that's a fairly common and important issue, like assault at that age, but like,
It was just odd that he brought that up,
yeah, it's a weird
libertarian thing,
thing to focus on.
and say like this is a plus. This is a reason why you should vote me. Look, I have you guys. Like you're all
Right.
a bunch of disgusting rapists, pedophiles, and that's why I'm your champion.
Yeah,
They so weird. So yeah, watching him get booed was hysterical.
it was great.
He went to Sneaker Con earlier this year. He got booed the shit out of too. They
Oh
don't.
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing: people don't like him.
Yeah.
Most people do not like him. You're gonna run into some MAGA chud, or you're gonna run into people that are gonna vote for him no matter what because they're
Of
just
course.
fucking Republicans and they'll vote for whoever.
Yeah.
But like, if he shows up to a place that's not in his favor, he's gonna get booed.
Yeah.
When
That's
he
just the way
shows
it
up at like
goes.
sporting events, he gets booed. I think the only place that he barely gets booed as when he shows up at UFC.
Oh, okay.
It's a very right-wing sport.
Yeah. Yeah. In general.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Or are you
Yeah. No, I'm
okay?
good.
I don't know if you're freezing. Okay. So yeah, that happened. But then today something bigger happened.
It was epically funny.
So what happened,
He
Joseph, today
okay.
on I mean it won't be wait, what day? Yeah, it's May 30th still on my end.
Okay, yeah, it's actually the 31st on mine, but on May 30th, yesterday for me, this earlier today for you, um, Trump had been on trial, and each day the jury comes back and asks, for instructions or guidance on issues, and they had been debating whether or not Trump was guilty. And the whole day had gone by, and I just kind of like in the background would keep track of what was going on. And then at the end of the day, I just saw this tweet, and I happened to see the tweet like the moment it got posted, and it was from a legit journalist that I follow, and it said the verdict is in. And I was like, oh my God. And then I looked at a few other accounts just to make sure it wasn't like an error. And a lot of people were saying the jury was in and they were going to read their verdict in 30 minutes. I texted you,
Yep.
texted anybody who I thought would be interested, my dad, my younger brother. And
Hey, your daughter.
well, she was away, but I would have called her just because like it's a historic thing. So I put on the news and the people are chattering, waiting for the verdict, and then the verdict comes in, and this dude's reading the verdicts, and he's like, "Count
Yeah, I
one,
saw Jake
guilty."
Tapper
Yeah,
on I had Max on my phone and I had it on, and there's Jake Tapper reading it, and I couldn't believe I was like a little behind you.
yes,
I saw like five verdicts coming out. I was like, holy shit. And you were like, no, it's all 34. And I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't even get there yet. I don't know why I'm so behind, but
You must have been on somewhat of a delay or something. Maybe they made you watch a commercial when you started it. But
uh,
but anyway, yeah, he and I just watched and I couldn't believe it because like I was suspicious of the whole thing. I thought he might skate, and that was going to be like a real gut punch. But fucking all 34 counts guilty.
that's insane.
And it's crazy. It's a big, big deal. The dude's a convicted felon. He's
So
got all
34, what do you know what they all were?
Yes. Well, no, I don't know what the individual ones were, but the deal was, and a lot of people misunderstood it, and I think I understand this, although I'm going to preface this by saying, like, if I'm wrong, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're not an expert.
right.
You're not a professional expert.
The weird thing about the case is that it was a conspiracy case. So you didn't need that. And that's why Trump kept bitching about like, they won't tell me the crime. They won't tell me the crime. But the attorney, the district attorney for Manhattan was like, I don't need to have an underlying crime. All I have to do is show that you committed multiple crimes in furtherance of this hush money thing. That was the central part. Was there's a that Trump paid uh, uh this person to get rid of the story, and the reason that is illegal and not just tacky is that Trump was doing it to interfere with the election. And when Pecker bought the rights to Stormy Daniels' story and then sat on it, kind of did the catch and kill thing, he was technically making a donation to Trump. And that was never disclosed or reported. So since that was the kind of like the underlying crime,
Penis.
all those other things became parts of this. Like when he would not forge a check, but when he would like misclassify a check and call the hush money legal services, all of a sudden, all these things that may not necessarily be crimes in another context became crimes because they were all in furtherance of this underlying crime. It's like if I drove you to the bank, that's not a crime. But if I drove you to the bank and I knew you were going to rob the bank, now all of a sudden it's a crime. And that's the thing I think a lot of the Trump people missed, or maybe intentionally missed, is that all these things were in furtherance of that illegal campaign contribution that was designed to help Trump win an election.
So I worked for a pay-per-view marketing company back in
Okay.
early 2000s. And I left the job in 2004. And before I left the job, they got one of the brand partners they got. I was only there for a little bit and I left. It was Sturgis. They were gonna do vents for Sturgis.
Okay.
Now you're probably like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? Well, this has something to do with this because all lands around that time period. Well, I was
When
saying
you say Sturgis, do you mean that
the
yeah,
motorcycle
the bike
in
rally
like
thing?
South
Okay.
Dakota or something.
Yes.
Yeah, the Sturgis was most famous for being a super spreader event back in like
Yeah, yeah.
20 because people who ran it were fucking demons.
Sure.
Fucking idiots. Dangerous fools. Um there was no COVID in that area. There was COVID by the time it left, by the time Sturgis was done.
Okay.
But okay, so this is going so I was still staying in touch with my boss at the time. We were talking about it, and he told me this story, and I got my timeline screwed up. And I remember him posting pictures on his Facebook of giving Stormy Daniels a tattoo.
Okay.
Like drawing a tattoo on her or something. I don't know what the hell's going
Yeah.
on there. And he told me a story about how he picked her up from the airport, and she was talking about how she was with Donald Trump the night before.
Oh, jeez.
And I always thought that was insane. And then I remember like 10 years later,
Right.
the whole Stormy Daniels thing happened. And I was like, oh shit.
It wasn't
Because
crazy.
Barron, because Melania was pregnant with Barron when
Right.
this was going on. And that's why the funny thing about him like going to Barron's like graduation,
Right.
which he showed up like for like a minute. He was crying like, "Oh, I can't go," and it was just really funny because this whole thing happened, I guess, 18 years ago, right? Like 2006,
Yeah.
years
That
ago,
would
yeah,
make sense.
and 17 or 18 years ago, yeah. And it's just funny. And there's like a rumor or something that Barron is not his kid. He kind of looks like him, but
He
somebody's like,
does, yeah.
yeah, it's his kid. Um, I mean, Eric Trump's tall as hell too, so it makes sense.
Yeah, true. True, true.
But it's just funny though, this offhand story, working for this company. They
Yeah.
they did stuff with like the McMahon. They worked on Linda McMahon's like
Yeah.
twice failed campaigns in Connecticut trying to be,
Yeah.
and then she ended up working for the Trump administration.
Right. She was like the
McMahon,
something in commerce or something.
yeah, I don't know, some
Yeah.
bullshit position. But yeah, well, they made it bullshit. It was probably very
Right. Probably a
important.
very important, vital position, but
That becomes bullshit when you put a person in WWE.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, she would show up and give people a chokehold,
Right.
jump off the ropes and
Yeah.
sing I don't know. Never mind. So yeah, I always thought that was kind of funny, this whole Stormy Daniels thing. Just having like a 6 degrees of like a Kevin Bacon 6 degree separation from this whole thing. Like I wasn't working there anymore at that point, but just knowing the guy and him telling
Right.
the story. And I remember when he told me that, I was like, ew. And I knew Trump was married, so I was like, fucking creep, like, but this is so funny. And she's like talking about it and everything. And then
Mm.
like fucking 17 years later, 18 years later, the fucking guy is a convicted felon, and it's
Yeah.
all because of this. And it's just really funny, like just working at that shitty job,
Yeah.
dealing with some real scrupulous characters, and like there's just that weird connection to Trump. Just a weird
Yeah.
little, and it all makes sense. These people, they're all shady as fuck. Like I had a VP for the company. He was shady as fuck. He was stealing money. And also we worked for UFC. So that's all
Okay.
connected too. And
Oh
what's his name?
yeah.
Huge Trump supporter, Dana White.
Right.
So this stuff is just it's just like weird seeing all this stuff. Like I don't even need to go see the movies. I got this.
Yeah.
My whole life was more interesting. What the fuck? I have like this shit going on. I'm like, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
Oh,
like in part of it, but I'm like, I'm connected to it from the outside, and I'm like,
right.
it's just funny. Like, it's so fucking weird seeing this guy. Like, the fact that he was president is absolutely
It's
insane,
crazy. It is. It's the
crazy.
whole thing's bananas.
Okay, so all this stuff. Was there anything else that he was connected about, or was all this conspiracy stuff basically?
It was all conspiracy stuff, if I'm remembering right. There were 34 counts, so I could be wrong. Some of them were like basic, like he had like forged an instrument, like he might not have signed his name on a check or ran it through a trust or something. But the basic crime is that he let donors apparently like buy him some land or something, you know.
Just
And he had
so
been accepting gifts and no one knew about it, really.
it's just so insane how this guy has like all these like felony accounts. Like people who like steal like they
Yeah.
get like, one charge and they're in jail for like 10 years. This guy 34. I mean, like that's insane. Is that technically considered 34 separate crimes?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But like
Yeah,
the
it works. I mean, like each charge, like it's a charge, right? I mean, like it'd be like if you,
yes,
I don't know, got pulled
exactly.
over for DWI, but you also like ran a red light and you like, you get charged
Some
for.
of, if I remember right, though, if I'm understanding it right, some of them are more like accelerators than they are crimes. Like if I get pulled over for speeding and I'm not wearing my seatbelt, I'll get an extra ticket for my seatbelt, but that's not why they pulled me over. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't really part of the thing. And I think that's the unusual thing with this Trump stuff is that all they had to do is prove that he engaged in a series of crimes. They didn't need to prove every single crime, you know. So that's the instruction they kept making fun of. Like if you said he's guilty of these five things, and I said he's guilty of another five things, and Amanda or someone else said he's guilty, as long as those things added up to everyone thinking he's guilty of something, then that qualifies as being like the conspiracy. And I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So, but I don't care.
No, I think it's funny. I think the whole thing is hysterical. I mean, so basically, after today,
Yep.
Trump is, I mean, he's been already found guilty on multiple
Yes.
civil suits. There's
Yep.
the E.G. Carroll. What was the other big one? The one where he ends up owing like 200 million. What was that? Was that also E.G. Carroll?
Yeah.
I thought there was another civil suit that he had that.
He did Eugene Carroll once and he got like, I don't know, I think he just got like 5 million. Then he did it again and got like, I want to say it was like 80 million, wasn't it?
No, it was like, yeah, something crazy or like 200. It ended up being a like, yeah, it ended up being like a large, but didn't he end up owing like 400 million to something?
Yeah, that
Georgia
does
or
sound,
something? Wasn't there something else? Or
I think
something
you're
in New York?
right.
What was the Aragon case?
Oh, that was, yeah, but that, I think that was,
That was
I
like
think
ended
that
up
was
being
just
like
like 5
400 million.
million. Was it? Was that the one that was a lot?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the E.G. Caroling, it was funny because it ended up being 80 million. Then that one, I don't know what this one was for exactly. The Aragon, I forgot what that case was.
yeah. Oh, God, it's so screwy. There's like so much to keep. All right, so
Like it's insane. And like the Republicans are like, this is an attack by Biden. It's like, no, dude, the guy's just a criminal. Like
yeah,
he's been getting away with it for years.
this should be so easy to figure out, you know? But
Now we have a truly a convicted felon who's running
yeah,
for the highest office in the land under the second, the other big party in the United
yeah,
States. And it's absolutely insane. I don't think people really understand the weight of that. Like, and the
yeah.
Republicans are still, at least as far as we know, 100% behind him. He won't be sentenced until July 11th, which I don't understand why it takes that long,
Right.
which is 4 days before the GOP convention, which is kind of funny that it is literally 4 days before the GOP convention that he could be sentenced. He could, in theory, still go to jail, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
counts.
Yeah, I don't know much about like the ins and outs of New York, but from what I understand, yeah, absolutely he could.
I mean, you said Michael Cohen served time in prison.
Yeah, Michael Cohen basically for doing something very similar, lying about this hush money payment and stuff. The
He got
crime was near
34 counts.
well, he got I think he had like six or something. Anyway, he wound up spending time in prison, you know, and then he had to go to meetings afterwards, and they'd kind of role play with him, like what's appropriate and everything. I don't think Trump could do that. I don't think he could sit through that kind of curriculum, you know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I mean, it won't matter. He's hoping that he'll be back in the White House and none of this will matter.
Right. That's the
Dude, you
thing
know
is
how
that,
insane he'll be if he got back in the White House? He'll go after
geez.
everybody. I don't think people realize. Like the other day, he was talking about how we're going to deport everyone illegal in this country. People are like, you do realize it would cost like trillions to do that.
Yeah. And they'll
Like, you
just come
wouldn't be
back
able
or
to do that.
yeah.
It-
That's
it-
real.
what?
It's real disheartening, you know. Uh, that kind of mindset, the people that uh they just have a real myopic view of the law. They think that it's there to serve them and no one else. Well,
So, yeah, but like again, it's like why? Okay, because why is it January 11th? Like July 11th? Why is it so fucking long? Why can't it be done like I don't know next week?
you mean the trial?
Well, the sentencing,
Oh, this, yeah.
the sentence. So the trial's done, right? I mean, it's over.
It's done. Yeah.
The verdict is in. I'm
Mhm.
surprised it came as quickly as it did. I didn't think it was going to come today. And that's why we're doing this podcast today. We weren't going to do it.
Yeah, I thought it would be next week, honestly.
Yeah, but then they announced that yeah, the sentencing's not till the 11th of July, and I'm like,
Well, they have to, this is the funny part. They have to prepare a pre-sentencing report. So Donald Trump has to report to the police department and be interviewed by a psychologist.
and
And
he's
it's
gonna
like
be insane, and they're gonna be like, yeah, but that's okay. He should still be allowed to run for
the
president.
psychologist will prepare like a psychological history of Donald and talk about how he got along with his parents and this, that, and whatever. And then we'll submit that to the judge so the judge can take that into consideration when determining a sentence. So there's some things that have to happen between now and when he gets sentenced.
I wonder if he's still gonna debate Biden. I mean, that's June 27th or something.
Well, this could be the excuse he uses not to, because we had always suspected that he would never show up for the debate.
Nah, no
Um,
fucking way. No fucking way. That guy is a fucking coward, and he won't face any scrutiny. I mean, he only goes to things that like who he thinks are his fans, like Saber
right.
Khan at the Libertarian Convention, and he gets fucking booed the shit out of, and he's like, "What? I don't get it. Everybody loves me. So these fucking weirdo internet people love me."
Yeah,
And you're like, "Yeah, I mean, some of these people are weirdos, but they also think you're a piece of shit.
yeah.
Not
And
all of them are fucking psychos
right,
who,
some of them are pretty well adjusted.
yeah,
Like,
and or if they're like into weird shit, doesn't mean they're have no humanity
right.
and empathy." They think you're an evil scumlord. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I get, yeah, this is the guy. Yeah, it goes to the libertarian thing. It's like, I'm going to put trans bans in. I'm going to put Muslim bans in. I'm going to put
Oh
all these
Lord.
bans against like any ethnicity. Of course, the libertarians are going to be like, a true libertarian would be like, no.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're dealing with a fake libertarian is if they were fine with it. And
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned this too before we started recording. Libertarians are by and large, but by and large, they're consistent with their approach. It's not an every
I
time
mean, an
thing, but
argument can be made that libertarian would be against the government putting in like the Civil Rights Act.
yeah, yeah. But
But they
he,
also would be against like I don't know. They're not maybe they're not that consistent. I have no idea.
yeah, yeah.
Um, like Rand Paul will claim he's a libertarian. He's not a fucking libertarian.
No, no. But he at least talks like one, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
of course.
he plays a good one on TV.
Good point.
Yeah.
So all right, so again, I don't know why it's gonna take that long. Yeah, the psychologist thing is hysterical. Like what did they do? They're gonna come back and say he's not mentally he's
I
not mentally fit to be in prison or something?
no,
Like,
but I think they submit it to the judge. Like you often see this, like,
oh, but he's mentally fit to be president.
well, he probably is mentally fit to stand trial. That's really what they're looking for, is like,
Well, he
to,
did. He already stood trial.
oh yeah, but but to like receive a sentence, that there wouldn't be a mitigating factor. Like if this were, if he had like knocked off a Circle K to steal money, it would be at this point that the judge learns, oh, he was stealing money so he could pay for his daughter's, you know, dialysis, and that the judge could weigh that into their decision as to how long to sentence a person for. You know,
Yeah.
like if you stole a bunch of money from a Circle K and it turns out that you're just an asshole, like they would want to know
He's a
that
piece of
too.
shit, then
Well, that's I think what they'd be looking at with
yeah, that
Trump
the
is
kid
like,
excuse, the sick kid
does
excuse.
does Trump have like reason to think that
My son Eric is a moron. My son
Yeah,
Eric, have you seen him? I don't even know how he breathes.
gums for days.
He's dumb as Do you remember the googly eyed gremlin from Gremlins 2? He's
Yeah.
smarter than Eric.
Well, so
Can't
they
arrest me. I'm taking care of Eric.
they have the I mean, not the pre-trial stuff, but the pre-sentencing stuff. They've got like reports to write. They've got some things to do before they sentence him.
Man, I wonder
So
if there's going to be any death threats. These people are psychotic, and the Trump supporters are. There's a history. I think they're known for being a
yeah.
little scrappy. Little
Well, these
unpredictable.
these the verdicts that Trump got are they're big and serious. Um, but like we don't know how big and serious they'll be for him because he was like a real asshole the entire trial, pissing the judge off daily.
And he still was even in the end. He said at the drudge.
Yeah,
After the verdict came in, he said in his speech that the judge is corrupt. This is all Joe Biden. He's blaming Joe Biden,
yeah,
which is hysterical. Biden has nothing to do with this,
right, right. Well,
right? Am I wrong here?
he shouldn't. Yeah, it's a completely a state. It's a state charge with a district attorney. Has nothing to do with Biden, the federal government, anything like that.
Yeah, but the Republicans are trying to create this narrative like, oh,
Well,
well, of
they,
course, Biden's
uh,
going to stop his candidate from running his
I'll tell
rival.
you, they are all on the same page with the story they're telling. Like,
People, I know people are dumb enough to fall for it.
I bet you there's a good chunk of the electorate that is dumb enough to fall for it. You know, so
It's amazing again how Joe Biden is sleepy, and Trump will say all this that he's slow, he can't get words out,
yeah,
but he's also a criminal mastermind.
yes.
It's insane how Biden. It's crazy, Biden. What he chooses, where he chooses to be a Magoo, and where he chooses to be Doctor Doom.
Yeah, he can
You
barely
know?
get down a flight of stairs, yet he's also the smartest man on the planet,
Yeah, he's the
outsmarting every
Beyonder from
right.
he, he's Galactus.
Well,
He may be Mr. Magoo, but he's also
yeah,
Kaiser Soze. What
yeah.
was Kaiser Soze's alias that he pretended
Uh,
character was normal or something? I don't know what it
Victor, God, what was Kaiser? What? Oh, that's
like,
gonna bother me now. Um,
what's that movie called?
Usual Suspects.
Yeah, I'll just look it up.
Yeah, Kaiser Soze.
See all those actors who are like, we need to allow Kevin Spacey back.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's really funny. It's like,
Mm,
no.
yeah.
We don't, you know what? We don't need him. It's okay.
Mm.
I always find that so weird. Like you do realize he did something, right? Wait, what the fuck? It's like his name doesn't even show up now in the cast, Kevin Spacey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like um, Usual Suspects. All right, IMDb. Verbal is his name.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it took a while to get to that joke, but yeah, according to the Republicans, Joe Biden is verbal and also Kaiser Soze. It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it,
2 and 1.
it's amazing. I mean, how he can do it.
I
Oh, then
wish
he gotta get
Biden.
drunk, and then he's all of a sudden.
I think it would have been funny if Biden had visited an ice cream parlor today after the verdict and just like walked out with an ice cream cone. Classic Dark Brandon.
Yeah,
Um,
glowing red eyes. And he
yeah.
said, I like my candidates to not be convicted criminals.
Well, this is a big deal. I mean, it really is a big deal. And like I was trying to tell someone else before, like if you get arrested, let's say Trump just gets probation, um, he won't be able to follow his terms of probation. He won't be able to remember to ask permission to leave the state, or he won't remember that he
Right
can't.
to run a campaign?
Yeah, he won't remember that he can't associate with other known felons. Like I think Steve Bannon got charged with a felony when he was arrested. Like there's people that Trump just shouldn't be able to hang around. Which will also be a big deal. Um, I don't know. I think my feeling. I hope he gets a day in jail. My feeling that he's going to get an evening in jail, and I hope they let you know the topic before they drop him.
Wait, what?
He'll probably get a evening or something, like in some sort of confinement, And
When?
I hope they give us something to work with. We have a topic to go with for a future episode when he's
Yeah, yeah.
locked up.
I mean,
Um
I still don't believe he's ever going to see a jail cell.
I mean, I kind of doubt it, except for the fact, well, except for two facts. One, he's at every turn shown contempt for this process and the
Yeah,
judge
no one should be pressured by him. He's made every attempt to intimidate
yeah.
people.
And second, Michael Cohen went to jail for basically the same crime for 3 years.
Yeah,
I know we debated as to whether or not he served the full 3 years, but
but he was
he
given 3 years.
he served time in prison, and it wasn't easy time from the accounts I've heard. Uh, those two things kind of suggest Trump should get some sort of prison time.
Man, that'd
So,
be so fucking funny. I mean,
that'd
like
be so funny.
again, is he still? It's insane that he could be on the ballot and be in prison. I find that absolutely insane.
Yeah, there's no rule against it. I don't know. I mean, I would wonder at that time if let's say Trump's in prison, or like temporarily incarcerated, and it starts coming around crunch time, I could see maybe some Republican states trying to get him off the ballot, but I don't know. They seem so into Trump. So,
Well, I said my entire feed is just Republicans crying. LOL. Yeah, let's go to some good ones. Michael Rappaport, who what the
okay.
fuck happened to this piece of shit?
Yeah.
It's like he ended up losing his mind after Israel, the attack on October 7th, and then
Yeah.
Israel
Yeah.
fully supporting Israel, like just bombing the fucking shit and killing people endlessly. And he just became one of the most noxious, like, mouthpieces for it.
Yeah.
But now he's just like completely flipped politically. And now he's like, I'm predicting that Trump will win the election 2024 and just bet money on it. And I was just like, the fuck happened to this guy? I don't know. He's
Yeah.
an idiot. He sucks. People were posting, they said that they think it's really funny that he was in Fallout for like 30 seconds and died like horribly. Like his character was like a
Right.
joke. uh so Kyle Rittenhouse, I'm glad
Yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse was able to chime in. After the Trump trial
I,
came out, the one thing I was like, man, I hope Kyle Rittenhouse chimes in about
right.
this crime.
Need some guidance on this.
He said today is a miscarriage of justice. He did not write this.
No.
No fucking way. That that is too thoughtful of a
Although I think he says should of instead of should have, so that he may have written part
Donald
of it.
Trump should not have been
Right.
found guilty. So he should have said should not have been found guilty.
Yes. Yeah.
So he
Should
really,
of is not. I mean,
well, it's the duality of stupid
yeah.
here. He's
We
like,
all say should of, but it's really should have.
hmm.
So.
Today is a miscarriage of justice. Donald Trump should not have been found guilty. And people are just like, shut up, murderer, shut up, murderer. And I wrote, fuck off, murder piglet. If
Classic.
there was any justice in this country, you would have been passed around like a pack of cigarettes for the next 25 to 40.
Yes. Yeah. I think I said inmates would have gone after him like Kyle goes after a plate of moons over my hammy.
Exactly. Yep. Discussing film said Home Alone 2 lost to New York star Donald Trump has been found guilty of 34 felonies.
I saw that. That was good.
This one's really funny though. This one's from IGN.
Okay.
Breaking: Donald Trump star of Donald Trump's real estate tycoon from 2002 has been found guilty on 34 felony charges of falsifying business records.
Oh my God.
That one's pretty good. And there was a couple other like kind of funny, like, because he's like
Yeah.
the fact that he's a joke and then he happened to be president. Like,
Right.
but yeah, liberal parents everywhere right now. And it's the ending of Phantom Menace whenever
Nice.
and all the Gungans are dancing.
Right. Right.
I'm about young Anakin's like,
Oh.
she just
Well,
smiles. Everyone's like making it to be like this creepy thing because it's like she's older.
yeah.
She's supposed to be okay, so she's supposed to be 14 and he's like 9. She's just smiling at him.
Right.
Got a haircut. She's like, oh, you look like a nice young man. Good job.
See
What
Darth
do you
Chris
got?
Hansen come out.
What?
See Darth Chris Hansen come out.
Yeah. Hey, so what did they
What
always
are you
say?
doing? What are
What are
you
you
doing
doing?
here? Like,
What are you doing here, Amadal?
you here to meet someone? You brought a pizza and condoms. You brought a pizza. Uh,
Um,
yeah,
I can see if I can find some good. Let's see. Like Marge Tail Green posted like a upside
I
down
saw that.
flag.
Yeah.
That one's a classic.
Wow.
Ron DeSantis wrote. Let me see. I replied to a lot of them, so I could just find them from my replies.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
he I think DeSantis said like he wouldn't extradite Trump or something.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
Tim
was
Pool said war. You guys were playing Halo split screen multiplayer, ordered pizzas, laughed, and chilled all night. You didn't even realize it would be the last time. What? I wrote
Yeah,
Tim
I don't
Pool
understand
is
that.
such a massive fucking dork.
He's just like such a coward. Like these people all want their followers to go start shit, but they'll never do it themselves. They're like sitting at
No,
home with like an expensive
he's like in a
microbrew
mansion
and
with like fucking
yeah,
skate parks in his basement.
right. I mean, it's just like they're prompting younger people into
Prompting
violence. I
younger
mean,
or insane middle-aged
yeah,
people or unhinged people to go out and commit violence.
it's sad.
And then
So
they'll be like, I didn't do that. Did I do that? Tucker Carlson chimed in. Import the third world. Become the
sure.
third world. That's what we just saw. This just won't stop Trump. He'll win the election if he's not killed first. But it does
Yeah.
mark the end of the fairest justice system in the world.
Oh Lord.
Anyone who defends this verdict is a danger. Mark the end of the fairest justice system in the world.
You know the
I
sad part
said, how are
is
you typing this with Putin's nutsack in your hand?
the sad part is that the jury trial it was like 12 random people in New York City that convicted him. They didn't ask for this. None of them wanted to be on jury trial, you know.
Yeah.
They listened to the evidence and they called it like they saw it. And now you have like the entire right-wing media sphere and political apparatus like talking
You
about
don't
you. I
have
mean,
to be a political animal to not know that Donald Trump's a piece of shit.
yeah, a
That's
lot
the
of
thing
that
that
wasn't.
always drove me nuts. That's
Yeah.
when I always like, anytime, okay, so you got your like his supporters, and you're just like, okay, these people are missing a card in the deck, you
Yeah.
know? But then you get those dipshits who try to do the devil's advocate thing or try to like play it from, and those are the worst people.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the normal way to react to Trump is to go,
Yeah.
no, that's a
Like
that's
almost
bad.
like Biden did when he saw Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like
Exactly.
that's
The face, like, like,
what?
your reaction to all the things he does should not be like, yeah, that's my guy. I want to vote for him. It should be more like, nah, that guy really has no business being in this. Like, that
It's
guy's
just
not good. Like,
it's a
wait, is he the
lot.
guy who doesn't pay his vendors? Nah, I don't think that's a good idea.
It is a lot. I mean, I know everyone knows it's a big deal, but like it's a really big deal for so many Republican senators and Congress people to just say like courts don't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like we should be able to get rid of courts we don't like. You know, I mean, I don't know what they're proposing
All of a
in
sudden,
its
there's no law.
place.
It's amazing how the rule of law people
Yeah, like
all of a
they,
sudden are like anarchists when it comes to Trump. They're
it's
like,
real
who
crazy.
needs
Like,
these laws? These overreaching laws.
should everyone be able to skirt out? They're going to say no, and then you know, so, but like Trump should. I mean, like this was like a legitimate case. They had evidence that it wasn't like some cases where it's like in a gray area. You know, this was just a straight up an issue. You know,
Did
so
you see the one where the picture of Trump screaming at the kid mowing the lawn? You ever see
yeah,
that image?
yeah.
Do you have a poster of Rita Hayworth I could borrow? Yeah, it's a Shawshank Redemption.
Yes, yeah, that was a good
In
one.
case anybody's wondering. Lauren Boebert chimed in. Ugh, can't believe
Yeah.
Lauren Boebert chimed in. If this were happening in another country, Biden would be asking Congress to authorize a war to reinstate democracy abroad.
Oh, Lord.
Make no mistake, this is communism. And I said, "You are the dumbest person in politics." So that's it. There's nothing else to be said about that.
Yeah.
Let me see. Matt, let's see what Matt Gates had to say.
Oh Lord.
Um, he's a straight shooter, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This verdict is corrupt result of a corrupt trial. Oh, he doesn't sound like that. A corrupt judge and a corrupt DA.
Sounds kind
Matt
of like,
Gates.
yeah.
We will stand with President Trump now more than ever to save the country. I was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like,
It's rough. I mean,
oh yeah, the Ron DeSantis one. That's the one I was looking for. And I wrote under it like, oh god, it's so fucking long. I just wrote, didn't he call you a meatball?
yeah, I read the same one.
Today's verdict represents the culmination of legal process. It's like a long-winded. I'm not
It
reading.
is. It's like five tweets strung together.
Fuck that.
Um,
Like
they all rolled out and they all bent the knee and they all had the same defense of Trump. They get like an email in the
they
morning to
must
tell
have.
them,
They were all prepared. I
yeah,
think they all knew that. They had to have known that this was going to happen. That
yeah.
he was going to be found guilty.
Mm.
I don't think they were surprised by this.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, uh,
I just love Trump's speech. I mean, it's pretty short. Maybe I don't even want to listen to him.
yeah,
I mean, he just basically just claims all things corrupt and all this
yeah.
bullshit. And it's
It's the
like
greatest. It's the greatest hits of his. It's
you're guilty
unfair.
of
They're rigged. Blah blah.
yeah, you're guilty of a fucking crime, dude.
Yeah,
All these people, I will never do business in New York. Okay. Oh no.
yeah.
Trump, I don't know if it was like Trump's kids or something. They're gonna lose billions of dollars in New York now.
I remember that. Yeah.
And they're like, Trump has made 50 million in donations already. He will become more powerful than ever. This reminds me of when Tucker Carlson was
Yeah.
fired from Fox News. I heard the same. So Tucker Carlson gets fired from Fox News like
I heard the same thing.
a
Yeah.
year ago, and they all were like, he's going to become more powerful than ever. He's going to be, his voice will not be silenced. He will start his own thing, and it will be the biggest thing ever. And
Right.
that didn't happen. What happened? He's on he does some deal with Elon Musk, and I'm sure he's making
Yeah.
some bit or whatever, but he's like groveling to Putin and making just embarrassing himself, and
Mm,
he's
yeah.
completely irrelevant. He's like a joke. Trump is not going to become more powerful than the other. I mean, the only
No.
way it will happen is if he somehow ends up back in the White House, which is at
Well,
this
that's
point,
something to consider.
it's insane that is something that could be considered still.
Mm.
We don't we
I
do not live in this is not normal. This is not normal.
I'm gonna wait until I see polls closer to election day before I freak, but Biden should be
Well,
crushing him
I
right now, and he's
saw
not.
quick polls after I was watching a little bit more CNN after
Yeah.
the polls came in, and they basically said the same bullshit. Like this is people say this is not going to affect their vote, or 65% said
Hmm.
it's not going to affect. I don't believe that. I think more and more people are going to be like, I can't vote for this criminal. Like
I think some people are gonna be like that for sure.
they're going to be like, I'm not going to vote for Biden, but I'm not voting for Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like whatever, like so-called normal Republican.
Yeah. No, that
We'll
makes
see what
sense.
happens. I mean, it's a long summer. A lot of bullshit can happen. A lot of scare tactics can happen.
Yeah.
There's only so many caravans you could create. Oh, that was the other thing. Trump came out. He was like, when he came out after the verdict, he's like, they're letting rapists in. They're letting.
Oh,
It was the same. Like, yeah. Let me see.
they're not their best people.
Yeah, it was literally that. It's like a broken record.
Weird.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
Uh,
You get it?
oh, here we go. The real.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace.
That's a good idea. I think you should really insult the judge. Just keep
Crazy.
Just keep insulting the judge that's going to decide your fate.
Right outside the judge's chambers. Right outside.
Real smart, real good idea. Very smart.
It would give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful.
So he's saying that because the election for him in that area was so poor that it is rigged for him to have a case there, right? Is that what that is? What does he mean by
I thought
5%, 6%? I thought that means like, is that what he's saying? Like, because the voting there was so against him?
that I believe so. I believe so. And I think he even went to an appeal court and made that argument. And they said, no, that's where you committed the crime. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Those people don't like me. They're the people that I committed the crime
Yeah.
against.
I mean, if I go down into like Alabama and steal someone's robe, then, it's
You all gone stole Bobadiah's playing robe.
then I got to stand trial in Alabama. I can't like claim that I get to pick where I stand trial. So
Playing robe.
Well, it's something, and I think the interesting thing is Trump gets sentenced on July 11th. I think he's just going to be going bananas and berserk between now and then.
Oh yeah, there's no way he's gonna shut the fuck up.
No,
There's no way that debate's happening. Here, let's hear a little more.
Yeah.
Soros-backed DA.
Soros-backed DA. All the hits.
God.
I'm innocent. I did nothing wrong. Yeah, fuck out of here. Fighting for our country. Dude, you committed fraud.
Come on.
You can't even claim any morale here. You fucked a porn star. You lied. You lied about the money, where the money was going to.
Yep.
I mean, like, how is that? Someone sitting at home, like, he's fine for this country.
Well, and to cover it up, he like falsified business documents. I mean, there's like a lot going on with this.
There's no moral high ground here. There's nothing that could even like you said, the guy who knocks up the Circle K because his kid's on a dialysis machine. This is not it.
Right. There may be compelling hard luck stories out there, but this ain't one of them.
This was done by the Biden administration in order to an opponent, a political opponent.
They had fart noises in the background.
Seriously, millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now.
Oh, here we go. They're loading prisoners in mental institutions.
Yeah. No, they're not. No, they're not. Oh.
It's being invaded by Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister.
Yeah. Well,
someone said, "Why should voters vote for a convicted felon?" That's
all the two.
Good question.
Alvin Bragg also did a press conference after, and in Trump's press conference, they asked, why should we vote for a felon? And he didn't ignore it. And
he was walking away at that point.
Yeah, the one they asked at the other one was, it had something to do with, are you going to ask for jail time? And Bragg said, we'll argue the case when we argue the case. So you can read anything into that.
Tune in to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they will ask for some.
No one's going to see movies in the theater. This shit is amazing.
Yeah, it's good, top quality stuff.
Like, reality is, I mean,
who knew?
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, this shit is insane. You grew up and you'd hear the stories about Nixon and resigning, and the whole with him going on the helicopter and doing the little fingers, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. What a weird, crazy time you boomers lived in. You got all these wars, you had all this going on, and you're just sitting there going like, fuck, that ain't nothing.
Yeah.
We had 9/11. We had endless wars in Iraq. We had Bush.
Challenger disaster.
Well, yeah, that's previous, but yeah, you had fucking Bush stealing the election in
Yeah,
2000. You had like Trump somehow getting in 2016. Trump doing a coup in 2021, a fucking violent coup attempt. Like, we had Woodstock. Okay, we had Woodstock 1999.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I just love you hear these stories like how crazy it was back then. I'm sure it was pretty nuts, but
Yeah.
I don't think people appreciate how insane the times we live in are. Like,
And they have changed quickly and dramatically.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
This guy, man, I can't. It's like you want him to go away, but he's like an endless content machine. And it's not
He
really.
is.
I don't think it's really. I mean, it is his fault. He's the center of it, but again, you just have like a whole party that's just prop this guy up. Like the only reason why so many knuckleheads like Trump was because Fox News propped him up during the Obama years. They gave him like
it's the same way like Rachel Ray got popular, you know.
They gave him like, and you remember like what's his name, Andy Rooney, that guy who would sit around and be like,
Yeah.
like overcook a microwave meal. Remember that guy, Andy Rooney? He was on like 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
You ever put your socks on wrong? They would do that. They would give Trump like 5 minutes to talk, and it was like
I do remember that now. Yeah.
And it was like, and it was during the Obama years. This is so Fox News created him.
Yeah.
He would not be president if it weren't for Fox News.
No. Yeah.
I didn't think this whole thing is, again, though, like it is fun.
Yep.
Sure, some shoe will drop that we're not going to like.
Yeah, probably.
Shit is going to come up soon. Oh, here we go. This one's funny. It's one of those memes with like it's a guy reading the book and then crying. It's like those three.
Yeah.
This one's like the guy's wearing the MAG hat, says, "Why Donald Trump is being prosecuted for crimes?" And it said, "Because he committed crimes." It makes no sense.
Yeah. Oh.
Here's this one's Lock Her Up 2016, Lock Her Up 2017, Lock Her Up 2018, Lock Her Up 2019, 2020, Lock Him Up, 2021, Lock Him Up, 2022, Lock Him Up, 2023. Going after political opponents is not American.
Nice. Oh, well, yeah.
Laura Ingram said, "Guess we have to shop at the Banana Republic now." And this person wrote, "Linda hates GOP thugs. You should just get clothes out of your grandpa's trunk." And it's like a Nazi uniform. I don't know if there's like something that I'm not getting from the. I just think, again, we're gonna wrap this up in a minute.
Yeah.
It's like a shorter episode, but like the idea that like, oh, he is more powerful than ever. He will win the election now. No.
Yeah, and look, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But that's
gas leak across the country. Like
that's no reason to not put him on trial. That's always their thing. Is they try to it's like a fable, like a trick, where they're like, well, we don't want you painting the fence because it's too fun, and then like next thing you know, Huckleberry Finn's tricked you into painting his fence. They said that for months, like, oh, if you put him on trial, he'll just become more popular. You know, you don't want to convict him, he'll get more popular. Fuck, of course you do. He committed these crimes, so you put him on trial. I mean, if that makes him more popular with some people, so what? I mean, you still got to put him on trial.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Like those people are fucking knuckleheads.
They weren't Biden voters. They weren't persuadable voters. They weren't gettable, you know? So
no, I mean, you might get like one of those weirdos who's never voted before.
Right.
Doesn't pay attention. There's a lot of people don't pay attention to anything.
Yeah, that's
I always have a hard time believing them, though. I like sometimes think of like they're lying or something. Like they have to know. They have to have some awareness.
some inkling of it. I think
Yeah.
I see more often like
Like I don't think they're like secretly who was that guy like that famous conservative guy, William F. Buckley or something.
yeah.
Like I'm just don't know anything, but he's secretly William F. Buckley. Like, no, like I think they gotta know something to have some kind
Something.
of
Well, yeah, it could be.
I just always feel like I don't trust those kind of people. I feel like it's like, dude, you don't have to play life like you're playing fucking poker, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be that way. It's really annoying.
Well, yeah. I think that it
You know what I mean? Like, not
I
everything's a
do. I
fucking
do.
poker play. You know, you could, it's okay. We're not gonna. I mean, I don't know. I find those people more fucking irritating. I
They're just
like.
a little exasperating, you know.
It's just frustrating. You don't know what you're dealing with, so I like don't want to say anything around those type of people
Yeah.
because I'm like, I don't know where you're coming from.
Right. It's hard, yeah, hard to gauge their perspective.
Well, I usually just think they're
Yeah, bad
they,
actors.
they lean towards a certain way and they just won't admit to it, or you know what I mean? Or they're
Yeah,
okay
yeah.
with something awful and they don't want to admit to it. But again, this is weird. It is very surreal. I couldn't
Oh,
believe it. I'm shocked that this happened, that he was convicted.
yeah, I am too. I
I'm
thought for
shocked it
sure
was
there'd
all
be
34.
I thought one juror would get him off the hook or something. I
Well,
thought it'd
didn't they
be
set it up that they couldn't be a hung jury? Wasn't that like another thing
no,
that
they could
was
still have
about?
been a hung jury. Each member of the jury had to find Trump guilty of something. If one juror said, I don't think he's guilty of anything, I don't think any of these he's guilty of, that would have hung the jury.
Well, they would have been like, can you prove why he's not guilty?
But like if she had really just not cared and dug in her heels, she could have stayed there for a day or two, you know? I mean, in theory, that they would wait until you leave and then, but no, I mean,
It's probably like, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. This guy's a piece of shit. You know, hey, you guys want to make history? Like,
yeah,
probably
right.
like, you want to make history? You want to be
Well,
the hero? You want to become the hero of the people?
if one person had said he's not guilty of anything, they could have toughed it out and I don't know, affected the jury, but I don't think that was the case. I think that most of them right away said he's guilty of most of these. Let's just do it right and figure out if it's all of them or most of them, or that's what it seems like to me. They only deliberated for like a day and a half, you know?
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, these are so clear. Like some of them were like,
Probably just because there were so many of them. There's 34 fucking
yeah,
persons.
and some of them were like, he signed a check. He paid for this set of a check, you know? So and I don't know. Some of them seemed real clear cut to me. The trick was you had to prove that these things happened in furtherance of another crime. Like if I screwed up and did something, you know, and ran around to my wife and paid someone to like keep a secret, that's not technically a crime, you know. With Trump, these things had to be put into the context of a larger
There was
conspiracy
a
with
paper trail.
he fucking wrote checks, you know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But he's the moral of the story is that he's a convicted felon. 40 like 34 counts. So
Well, what they say, he's no longer 45. Was that his number, president?
yeah, yeah.
He's
He's
34.
34.
Yeah.
It was good.
I still like the name President Crime, though. That's a
Yeah, that is good. Honestly, I think by the time we talk next week, we should have some fun, you know, pop culture stuff to talk about. But I'll bet you a lot happens between now and then, with Trump. I'll bet you
yeah, it's like part of me's like scared, like, oh, some violent acts can happen. But I think in reality is, I think with him out of office, with him not, even though he has like a influence on the Republican Party itself,
yeah.
him not in office, without him having mechanisms of power, I just don't see how these like douchebags, like
I
the
don't either. I think
frat
if he was
boys and all them, like I just don't see any. They will get wiped out.
if
They'll
he
be
was
taken
in
out.
yeah, if he was in power and could pardon people, even if he would never have done it, but if he was in power and could conceivably help people and pardon people, I could see more people joining in to help him. But he doesn't have that capability now, you know. So he doesn't really have anything to offer people in exchange for storming the streets. So
Yeah, and I think a lot of those people went to jail,
yeah,
right?
or
Like all
died of
the heads
COVID.
of the Proud Boys went to prison.
Yeah,
Are they even a thing anymore?
I think they are, but I think they're not like functionally a thing, you know.
Yeah. So real quick before we wrap this up,
Yeah,
will there be another mugshot?
I'm almost positive there will be.
No matter
Yes.
what happens, right? No
Yeah,
matter if even if it's just a
he's got to get in the New York
what do they
system,
call it? What's it called? Not if he doesn't go to prison, he would get something
like
else.
probation or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, photograph.
But you even said, okay, so let's say he gets probation, right?
Right.
What does that mean exactly? Like he has to.
Well, you get probation requirements, and usually I can tell you because I worked with people on probation before. Usually it means you can't leave the city. You sometimes have to wear an ankle monitor. You have to surrender your passport. You have to check in. You have to make your home available to the probation officer. There's a bunch of shit you got to do. And you can't continue to commit crimes you were convicted of. So, like, if the judge says when the judge sentences Trump, even if it's just probation, I'm also giving you another 90 days probation for all the times I found you in contempt of court, then if Trump is bad mouthing the judge while on probation, that should technically be a probation violation, you know? And you
So
don't,
probation could work against him, especially him on the campaign.
yeah, yeah, if depending on his probation officer, but like, yeah, absolutely, you know. And if they want to put you in
Probation
jail,
officer Calvert House.
well, that's the thing is like if you get sentenced, let's say you're a regular person, you get sentenced to 10 years in prison, but you're a first time offender, you're nonviolent, they're going to let you do, you know, supervised release, whatever. When you come and go from the prison part, they check your photograph and yeah, they mugshot you and do all sorts of things. So, as Trump will soon find out.
So
Yeah, it's a lot.
yeah,
It's a big deal.
even if he gets like he's gonna get something.
He's gonna get something. I mean, I guess he could get a fine. Like that might be like the lowest. Like we're not even going to put you on.
34 counts though. That'd be insane if you only got a fine.
Well, the bigger deal is that all the times he was in contempt of court. You know, like that's the thing that to me is like this isn't going to be a simple fine or something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, if he gets probation, that's still like I said. And if he violates probation, right, he could end up getting sentenced because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That could lead to
Yeah,
jail.
well, he could say, I'm sentencing you to 4 years in prison. I'm gonna suspend that and put you on 4 months probation. If you complete your probation, I'll vacate the sentence. But if you violate, then you start your 4 years.
So like the joke could be that like he could possibly not be able to attend the GOP
Right.
convention.
Possible. Yeah.
I mean, like he can't campaign.
No.
Like because you said if if he has to face probation, wouldn't that mean he's like trapped in New York or something? Or
Yeah, but he
Florida?
could ask to leave, but he has to ask.
What
He
is he gonna
can't
do,
just
like 1,000 times? I mean, when you campaign, you got to go to like multiple states.
Yeah, he'd have to
Two
say,
states a
well, he
day.
could say to the probation officer, my plan is to go to Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, you know, and like, he could get it approved in batches probably, but still,
That's so
it's one
fucking
more
weird.
thing. Yeah.
Don't mind my ankle monitor. Oh, hold on, my ankle monitor is beeping.
Right. So that'll be hilarious.
This is not normal.
No, it's very unusual.
And it's not like can't handle it.
Eh.
Sorry.
Oh well. Like I said, I think
It
we're gonna
makes
have a
no
lot to
sense.
talk. I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week
I can't believe
with
this
Trump.
guy is a candidate. I mean, I think it's hysterical. I'm
Yeah.
glad they voted for him now because I'm like, because it's like,
Yeah.
dumb fucks. Like,
Mercy.
I mean, do you think they'll do a switcheroo and put Nikki Haley in there?
It depends. I think that's what I think I was saying this earlier. If it gets closer, and the polling for Trump starts to dip, they certainly could.
She will not win.
She won't win.
And it's not because it's because Trump supporters will not support her.
Of all the people on the Republican side, Trump has the best chance to win.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, I don't even mean like, like, oh, now all the Republicans are going to vote for her and she might steal some votes from Biden or something. I don't think that's the case. I think that like Trump supporters will be so spurned by what happened and not believe in democracy that
they will take that poorly.
They'll be waiting. They won't be voting. They'll be waiting for like marching orders for the next like coup attempt. Like, that's like not a joke.
Oh well.
All right. Well, that was fun, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you liked what you heard, do us a favor, click on the link in our caption and get me and Joseph.
Nice.
And even get one of the goats.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah, that would be a
nice gesture. Named the goat. We never gave the name for the goat.
No.
I'll think about that one.
Yeah.
Tune in next time for a possible name of that
Sounds
goat.
Good.
All right. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still good on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.